Hi, welcome back to my channel. We're doing another domestic related video here today because I'm going to show you how to create a guest room out of thin air. When we have people come to stay with us, this room, which is my office, becomes the guest room. So obviously there's no bed in here. That is a futon. So I'm going to show you a few different ways you can set up a guest space using a futon, using an air mattress, and the one I recommend, which is the best one I've found, or even just setting up a couch as a bed. So there are options, and there's a lot of things that we can do to make our guests feel more comfy and more at home, and I just think it's fun to make it more special for everyone involved. So let's get started converting this room into a guest room. So here's kind of the current status in here. If you've seen any of my house tour videos, you're already familiar with this room, but this is how it is in office mode. So there's a lot of clutter on the desk. And there are things that are out that I would like to swap out for things that are more guest related. So let's start by doing that. So my first tip is to create sort of like a hospitality corner if you can. And I just like to put a few things out here that I feel like might make my guests more comfortable or feel more homey while they're here. And that includes some reading material. I will usually try to select it based on my guest and what I know they like, and just have a couple things out. Or also having a magazine from the region that you live in can be fun so that they can look around maybe at touristy things to do while they're here or something like that. So that's what these are, 2 copies of LA Magazine. I also always put out tissues. As someone who tends to get a runny nose from allergies, I just know tissues come in handy for anything. I always have tissues for myself, like in my purse, and I always try to provide tissues for my guests. So I have a box of tissues there. I put some fresh flowers. These are just, you know, simple carnations from Trader Joe's, like nothing fancy. And again, I don't think this is anything your guests would expect of you. I just think this is a nice little touch if you can. So it always brightens up a space or a room. I try to keep fresh flowers in my house in general. And if I have company, I try to put fresh flowers out for them too. So simple, simple, simple little touch that brings a little extra beauty to the space. And then I also put out some water and snacks. So the reason I like to put out water especially is just in case they need to take a pill in the middle of the night or something and they don't want to be bumping around in the dark in your kitchen looking for your cups, or they're thirsty, or just, you know, something as simple as that. It can be tough when you're a guest and you don't want to intrude on someone's kitchen and you don't know, do they drink the tap water? Like, what's the water situation, etc. So I like to put out a couple bottles. And then also if we're going and doing touristy adventures and stuff during the day, they can bring this and refill it and use it as their water bottle while they're in town. And then I also like to put some snacks kind of for the same reason. If they're hungry, if they have a medication that they need to eat something with, if they want to throw these in their bag for adventures throughout the day in case they get hungry on the go, stuff like that. So I'll usually put out some kind of small granola bar type food that gives a little bit of energy. And then I also like to put out something a little bit sweet if they just want a little taste of something before bed maybe. Or, you know, it's just kind of a nice touch to have the option to enjoy a little sweet treat. These are in these cute jars from the Target dollar store. And if you know your guests, you can also put out something you know that they really like. These are almond butter chocolate cups from Trader Joe's, quite delicious. So just little options like that are great for your guests to have to feel more at home, and like they don't have to necessarily invade your kitchen or some other part of your home just to make themselves comfortable. I mean, I obviously let my guests know they're totally welcome to anything in the kitchen, but this is just sort of their mini little, well, mini bar, I guess, so they can have the freedom to give themselves a little snack and a little drink if they want anything. Another thing I always try to make sure to provide is just a simple wastebasket, a trash can with a liner if I can. That way, you know, if they want to throw away their chewing gum or something, they don't have to worry. Like, it's going to be in the trash bag and there's no worries about somebody like dealing with their trash. The comfort of throwing away whatever you might need to with some privacy. Next, I want to show you a few different ways that I set this room up to have a bed. Since, like I mentioned, there's no bed in here. There's a little bit of creativity required. So the first thing I want to do is set this couch up like a bed. It is actually a futon, so I'll show you that too. But in case you're just working with a couch and it doesn't fold out or anything like that, I'm gonna give you some ideas to make even just sleeping on a couch for a guest be a little bit cozier, a little bit of a more comfy option than just, you know, throwing them down here with a pillow and a blanket. So the first thing I've done is actually put a fitted sheet on the couch. You can fit it over the back of the couch, just like you would over a mattress, and then bring it all the way down, fit it over the bottom corner of the couch as well so that it stays snug, and then kind of tuck it into the crease of the couch. This is immediately going to make it feel so much more comfortable, like an actual bed. As soon as you feel the soft sheet texture on your skin, it just kind of triggers your brain to like calm down, go to sleep now, and relax. I'll also link these sheets in the description box below this video. They are very affordable on Amazon, but they're so soft. Like in an ideal world, I'd love to give my guests like 1,000,000 thread count sheets just to have that ultimate silky, comfortable bed experience. But until I can afford that, these are really, really affordable sheets on Amazon, and they're not like the world's best sheets, obviously, for the price point, but they do feel so soft, and I have had a lot of guests comment on enjoying the soft sheets while they're here. Another thing you can do is make sure that the sheets smell amazing, and you wash them, of course, and they're nice and clean, and that just feels great when you get into bed. That is like crisp, clean sheets, and it smells so good. So I love this laundry detergent from Trader Joe's. It's no harsh chemicals, pH balanced, and it smells like lavender. So that's really soothing, especially for bedtime. You can also add a scent booster to the wash. I know some people are kind of sensitive to ingredients in laundry detergents, so I would be maybe a little bit cautious about that, but these smell amazing. Also, these are in a baby scent, and I think baby laundry detergent products smell so good. Like the way a baby smells so good, you know? So also I feel like these are hopefully a bit more sensitive since you can even use them on baby clothing. So that's also a great option for washing sheets for guests. So here's the couch all made up as a bed. It's not the best solution, especially for a long-term guest, but it does just make even just a simple couch feel so much nicer. So now we're gonna set up this side table a bit better. Like I said, I kind of think of that one as my hospitality station. Over here, it's going to be the actual bedside table. So I highly recommend you provide some kind of bedside table to your guests if there's any way you can. Even if it's literally a box, you know, with like maybe a nice cloth over it or something. Just think about the comforts that you enjoy in your own bed and how nice it is to have a place to set a drink, to set your phone while it's charging or something like that, an alarm clock, whatever it might be. I always find that the bedside table is a really key part of my bedroom experience just at home, to like have my book out and things like that. So I like to provide that for my guests whenever I can. So this simple couch side table will be serving as a bedside table. So I'm just going to change it up a little bit, take that decor off, and put something more useful on. A few simple swaps, and this is much more functional as a bedside table. So the key things I'd like to point out here are a lamp. I think a lamp that your guests can turn out from bed is really key, especially, you know, not that anybody's scared of the dark necessarily, but when you're in a strange place, if you have to get out of bed, go turn off the light, and then fumble back to the bed in the dark, that can be a little bit challenging. Whereas this way they could turn out all the other lights in the room, get into bed, maybe read for a little bit or whatever they'd like to do, and then simply reach over to turn off the lamp. So I've got this one that has a switch here, and that way they can just turn it off whenever they're ready for bed, and they don't have to fumble through the room in the dark at any point. Another thing I have out here is a power bar. So one thing I love in a hotel is when you check in and the bedside table has an outlet plug built into it. Like usually it's in the base of the lamp or something. I think that's such a great touch. I mean, we all have stuff to charge at night now, so it's just something to think about for your guests. If the only outlet in the room is all the way across, you know, they might want to be on their phone while they're in bed or have it near them while they're in bed in case a family member calls or something like that. So putting a power bar here allows them to have a few outlets so they can charge their phone, their Apple Watch, whatever it might be. And it also puts it right in reach of the bed so that they can charge and also have their phone there. So something like this can be a really nice option to offer them and just have it out easy for them to use. Also, if you know what kind of phone your guest has and you happen to have that charger, it's a really nice touch to go ahead and put their phone charger in for them. Sometimes if I have like somebody staying with me and I know that they have an iPhone and an Apple Watch, same setup as me, I will put my extra chargers in here and text them, hey, don't worry about packing a charger, I've already got you. And that way it's just one less thing for them to have to think about packing and unpacking, and they could possibly forget it. And it's like, we all just need our chargers these days, so that way they don't have to worry about all of that. And another key element here is the Wi-Fi password. I feel like every guest's like top concern is finding out the Wi-Fi, and for good reason. We all need it. So I just have this cute frame. You can usually find these little frames at Target or somewhere cheap, and I just have this little thing in here. Home is where the Wi-Fi connects automatically. I covered up my network and password, obviously, just for privacy, but that way the guests can find it without having to ask you. And like if you've already gotten to bed and they realize, oh shoot, I need to get on the Wi-Fi and do some emails or something, they have that option here without having to feel like they're bothering you for it. Another note I want to make is just sort of on general cleanliness. First off, I just want to assure you, your guests are not holding you to as high of a standard as you're probably holding yourself to. For the most part, like gone are the days of coming in with a white glove and like checking everything. I don't think we need to be that hard on ourselves. Like give yourself a little bit of grace, do the best you can. You don't have to kill yourself cleaning for guests, I'm serious. I know when I'm staying at someone's house, I do not even think about any of these things. These are things I think about when I'm hosting, but as a guest, I'm always just happy to be there and enjoy my host company. So I'm sure your guests are the same exact way, and they're just here to have a nice time. That said, I think there are certain things that are kind of subconscious that they might notice and enjoy. Like I said, they're not going to be checking your home for cleanliness, but for me, I always kind of sense when there are vacuum lines in the carpet for our house, and that makes me feel extra cozy in my house. So that's just something I do right before guests come, so that hopefully those vacuum lines are still kind of visible on the carpet. I'm sure no one would notice that or expect that, but it is just kind of a fun touch. The other thing I think people can maybe just kind of subconsciously be aware of or sense is if it smells nice in the space, if it smells clean. I love Bath & Body Works fragrances, but I don't go crazy in my guest room with them because I feel like some people are really sensitive to that. Like some people get a headache just thinking about Bath & Body Works. I love it, but not everyone does. So I don't put any wall plugins or candles or anything that could be too strong for some people. I do like to do a little spritz of Febreze though. I feel like that's just kind of a clean smell that just makes it like a clean slate. And if they sense anything at all, they'll just sense like a nice, freshly washed kind of feeling. So this one's my favorite right now. It's the Febreze Unstoppable in the Shimmer scent. It's so nice. So I'll just put a quick spritz of that in the air. And like I said, don't be too hard on yourself with this step. Like most people understand, most people have pets, most people are working crazy hours like you are, you know, they have kids or whatever the life situation is. Like don't be too hard on yourself, I'm serious. But those are little things I like to do just to kind of make it extra comfortable. Next up, let's talk about luggage storage and where your guests can put their things. I think it's great to put out a luggage rack if you have that option at all, just so that they're not putting their stuff on the floor and constantly bending way down to get to their things in their suitcase. This just sort of elevates it, especially if you have older guests, might be easier on their backs. So I got this luggage rack on Amazon, really affordable. I put it over these decorative suitcases. It's kind of ironic, but that way it's here, and I always point it out to guests immediately, like, hey, set your bag down here, so that they know that they can make themselves at home that way. Next up is some closet space, if it's at all possible. So unfortunately, this is a major storage closet space. For me, it's not a very welcoming guest closet space. But there are a couple things I try to always make sure I have for my guests, and that is some hangers and some space to hang clothing. They might have something they're worried about wrinkling, or they just would like to have it out visible, and that's totally understandable. So that's why I like to try and make sure there's at least like a whole row and some hangers available. In an ideal world, I would love to offer my guests a dresser and some drawer space to really unpack, especially if they were staying for longer. I know I love to unpack even just in a simple hotel stay or something like that, so I totally get it. Unfortunately, I don't have anything like that, and I mean, the majority of people probably aren't like me where they feel the need to unpack, so it's probably not a big deal for your guests either, but that would be something great to offer. If you do have a dresser, you can clean out like one drawer or something. Always feels a little more comforting, like you're really at home when you can see your stuff and you're not just living out of a suitcase. So if I did have longer term guests, I'd probably at least maybe try to get one of these sort of Tupperware type drawer sets, empty that out. So at least if they wanted to, they would have a place that they could kind of put their things in drawers, folded and up here hanging, and that way they're not totally crumpled up living out of a suitcase the whole time they're visiting. Another thing that I consider a real luxury when I'm staying in a hotel is a good hotel robe. I love to have a robe as I'm getting ready or getting out of the shower. So it's something I like to try to provide for guests as well. I have a few hotel robes that I've purchased over the years, so I will usually make sure one is perfectly freshly laundered and just hang it in the closet, tie it up the way I see them tie it up in hotels, and have that in here as an option for your guest as well. That way if they forgot pajamas or something to change into after the shower, that they can just borrow this robe and get extra cuddly as they wrap it around them 10 times. And you know, like, this is the comforts of a hotel robe that's extra soft. This one even has a hood, which is super nice. So just an option if they want to use it while they're here. All right, a few things to show you at the desk area in this room. Obviously not all rooms have a desk, but the one perk of using a room that's not technically a bedroom is you can kind of make do with other furniture pieces to try to offer your guests. So a lot of hotels have desks in them, and they do really come in handy. They can use the chair to sit, to drape things, etc. And I also stack the towels on the desk in here. If you have room in the bathroom or in a guest bathroom, that would obviously be ideal, so your poor guest doesn't have to remember to bring their towel, like in case poor things like takes a shower and doesn't have their towel with them. But unfortunately, that's the only place I have to stack my towels. So I always make a point to show the guest, hey, here's some towels for you. You know, please make yourself at home with these. And I like to put out at least 2 towels per guest, because some people like to have a whole towel just for their hair after they shower or something like that. I also put out like a hand-sized towel for washing their face or taking off their makeup or anything they might need it for, and some washcloths. Just put out some clean towels and make them as nice as you can, and that will be so appreciated. Another thing I try to do with whatever room or area my guests will be staying in is think ahead and take out anything I might need while they're here. So obviously, like, my computer usually lives here, and I moved all of that out. So if I have to send an email or I need something off my computer, I don't have to barge into their space and, you know, kind of make them feel like, oh, I don't know, I should have made the bed, I should have tidied up or something. I try to keep it where I don't have to go into their area at all, so they can just live as they see fit while they're here and not worry about anything like that, and have a little more privacy. And this is just another fun little touch you could think about doing in your guest room, is to get some postcards from whatever area you live in, like a little bit of an array of options maybe, and some stamps and a pen, and that way your guests can send a postcard home. This is a little thing, but I always turn off the printer because it's in here, and I know printers are kind of want to make weird sounds in the night. Like, all of a sudden they'll just start like cleaning themselves. They're like cats. I don't know. So I like to turn that off so there's no weird printer sounds that might scare them. I also always make sure that nothing's like stacked precariously in the closet that might go bump in the night. Little things that I try to think of ahead like that, because I know when you're at someone else's house and you're not used to the sounds that their house makes, it can be a little bit strange. So if you have like a clock that chimes in their room, or an alarm that you forgot was set in that area of the house or something, it might be nice to kind of think ahead and think, what would be sort of strange for a guest to hear, and how can I like prevent anything like that from happening? All right, let me show you a couple other ways I like to set up this room as an actual futon and using the air mattress. Here's an example of how I like to set up the guest room using the futon. So I simply folded it out into the bed shape and made it up, and it has a mattress pad and a like memory foam topper on here. So it's a lot squishier than your average futon. This is still not ideal, so if a guest is staying longer, I'll try to put them on a more comfortable solution, but I do hope I've made it as comfy as it possibly can be for a futon, and it just looks kind of homey, all made up, and a great solution to be functional and cozy as well. All right, last setup I wanted to show you is using an air mattress. And I will absolutely link this in the description box, because I've had this for years. And my husband and I have slept on it. We've had tons of guests use it. We've taken it camping. We've offered it for the guest room and every other thing in between. And it is truly the best air mattress. Like, I did a lot of research before I got it, because I really wanted to find one that was taller, one that was more comfortable, that didn't leak, and all of those things, and this checks all of the boxes. So when it's not in use, it fits in this storage bag pretty nicely. It just folds up, and I can store it in the closet in this duffel style bag. And it also has a mechanized device for filling up and deflating. So it fills up really fastly. You can top it off really easily for your guests if you want to, maybe every night that they're here. Although, like I said, I've never had a problem with it leaking, which is great. And then when you're done, it deflates so quickly and easily, and you can just fold it right back up into this bag. So here we go setting this up. As you can see, it's pretty large. I think it's officially just probably a double or a full-size bed. But I've found it's a plenty big size for up to 2 people, and it is quite comfy even when you do have 2 people on it. It's great for just 1 person, and it's super easy to fill up. And here's the air mattress all blown up. So it really is huge. Like, I think it's more than enough size to fit 2 people. And I love that it's taller. Like, it comes up to almost my knee. So that gives them a little bit of an easier time getting in and out of this air mattress. Some of them, you know, it's like you have to hoist yourself up all the way from the ground. So that's a nice feature. It also has like this built-in little raised pillow top, which helps so they can kind of sit up in bed. And I like that it has this velvety cover on it. So it's not just like rubber, you know, sometimes it feels like you're sleeping on like a pool toy or something when you're on an air mattress. So it is a softer finish, and it is really, really nice and firm, and it holds its firmness. But I do take it a step further, just like I did with the futon, by adding this memory foam cushion on top. I think that makes it feel a lot more like an actual mattress on a bed instead of feeling the surface of the air mattress. And then I'll also be adding this mattress pad on top. You know, again, both of these items were just pretty cheap at Target, but they add that homey touch that an actual bed would have. Like, when you feel the texture of this under your sheets, it's like feeling a soft mattress. So it just makes it seem a lot more like a real bed. So here's the setup in here with the air mattress, and I think it's by far the best option because it is the most like a real bed if you don't have a bed to offer. But it is very comfy when it's all made up like a bed with all those toppings. I think the more pillows, the merrier personally, because your guests can always take pillows off of the bed. They can't necessarily add them, you know, out of thin air. So my dad loved to have a ton of pillows, and I always think of him when I'm setting up guest quarters, just in case they are like my dad was, and, you know, need a pillow under the head, under the arm, between the knees, whatever. So I have a lot of pillows. And I also put some throw pillows to make it homier and to make it easier to prop up in bed if you want to read or something like that. I also put an extra blanket for the same reason as the extra pillows. They can always take the blanket off, but if they're cold in the night and they don't know how your thermostat works, they can kind of pile on the blankets and just get all the cozier. So if you're like me and you're working in maybe an apartment or limited space, the one downside is, of course, this takes up the whole room, but hopefully they can kind of work around it. I just try to stick it in the corner that I think they won't need as much access to. And, you know, unfortunately, that's just the nature of living out of small spaces sometimes. Something else that can be a nice touch is to put a little piece of seasonal decor. So right now we're headed into the Christmas season, and I have this Christmas tree in here. Just normally, it's my office Christmas tree, but I also feel like it's kind of festive. If you have a touch in their area that sort of signifies whatever the season is, if they're in town for the holidays or whatever it might be, it's an extra special little way to make the space feel a little more warm and inviting. So just a couple quick notes about the bathroom. I think, you know, fairly self-explanatory how to get it ready for guests. But I do like to put like a pretty touch on the counter, some more of those fresh flowers to kind of brighten it up in here. Another touch that's always great is to put out a basket of extra toiletries, things your guests might forget or need. So I have like face wipes, some skin products, some body products, toothbrushes, just little things. Always nice to put that out. Another thing I do is always put a fresh roll of toilet paper on, even if it's like half full. I'll take it off because I just want to reduce the odds of my guests running out of toilet paper and then being like, where's it stored here and all that. And on that note, I do like to keep it kind of visible because I feel like people feel awkward about rummaging through the cabinet to look for the toilet paper, and it's like a thing. So I have that canister of toilet paper, hopefully that makes it easier for my guests to find it if they do need it. And that's actually part of a set that also comes with a plunger and a brush. So I know this is kind of gross, but I think it's kind of nice to have those tools accessible in case your guests should need it. Like everybody's had that nightmare experience at somebody's house when the toilet wouldn't flush. So I just have like a matching set out, and I think that makes it a little bit more accessible should your guests have any kind of bathroom emergencies. I don't know. You can also put out like feminine products or let your female guests know that you have those sorts of things if they might need anything like that. It's just nice to kind of cover those bases and have those options, and then also just make it, you know, a clean, inviting space. So another thing for that is I do like to make sure it smells good. This is a room where I will use a Bath & Body Works air freshener, and I have the matching soap, so it's in the crisp morning air scent, and that makes it smell very fresh in here. And there's also a candle, which I will usually light right before they come, and just kind of have like a nice little scent experience for them. Another thing that can be a nice touch is to have some kind of food or drink to offer your guests when they arrive. They're probably a little road weary from however they got to you, and they did all that work to come your way. So I am trying to make homemade apple cider. This is a first for me. So by the end of the video, I will tell you how this turns out, if this is a good idea. But I thought this would make the house smell amazing, and it would be a really comforting drink option to offer my guests as they come in the door, and just have something kind of cooking up here. Other options are you could make like a big pot of chili to serve for dinner, or whatever you think your guests might be in the mood for when they arrive. If they're really tired, maybe just a snack and some water. Whatever it is, it's always nice to kind of think about their needs that way. So I won't say too much about getting the rest of the house ready for guests, because I've got a lot of videos on making your space cozy and comfy and happy like this doggy. So maybe check some of those out for ideas. But in general, if the guests are arriving in the daytime, I like to open the blinds, have a lot of daylight. And if they're coming in the evening, I like to have more dim, cozy lighting. Also, I feel like most people are ready for a snack when they get in from traveling. So I like to put some things out. This little tray is great because it has 3 spots. So I usually do something salty, crunchy, and sweet. And then I also happen to be doing some baking. So we have homemade cookies, peanut butter, dark chocolate chip, and almond. And then this apple cider has been simmering all day. It's made the apartment smell incredible. So I think that was a really fun call. And I just need to strain it and sweeten it, and it'll be ready to serve. It's also really nice to have music playing. I can't demonstrate that right now because I'll get in trouble with copyright, but I always try to have like some background music going, and that way it just kind of sets the mood to be even more inviting. So from my guest room to yours, or my repurposed office to yours, whatever your guest setup might be, I hope you get some good ideas to make all who visit you feel extra happy, cozy, comfy, and welcome, just like you want them to. Like I said, please don't put any pressure on yourself with these ideas. I promise, no one's expecting this. I don't expect anything like this. I don't know if any of my friends would even expect anything like this, but it's just kind of nice to put out those touches if you think of it, and if you want to make your guests feel extra special, because they are, because you are, and I love you guys so much. So hit subscribe. We're going to do more of this kind of stuff around here, and lots of fun videos to come. I'll say hi in the comments, and if you have any ideas for other things I forgot to mention, please feel free to add those below, and we can all get ideas from each other, and we can all come visit each other. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.